This is part 2. So, the scripture that hit me so hard, Philippians 1:21, for to me to die is Jesus Christ and to live to gain, was my scripture for a long time. And I have a lot more stories, so we'll do story time with Pastor Aaron. I don't have a problem with that. But I want to leave that aside for a second. So that was my scripture for a long time. For me to live is Jesus Christ and to die is gain. And I had a lot of things in my life that I had put in place because I didn't want to get hurt, and I hated being called a cripple, and I hated for people to try to figure me out. It's nobody's business to figure me out. If you don't love me, that's fine. Move along. There's plenty of people in the world that will. I've been made fun of. I've been picked on. I've been told I was gay. I'm not. I've been told that I was this or that or the other, even by family. And at this point in my life, you don't get a very good argument out of me because I just don't want the drama. I know that I frustrate people right now because I'll just say, no, it's fine. It's fine. I don't want to talk about it, and I don't have to. I give myself permission to back away. Stress, I'm still not completely well, so stress makes my eyes bleed so that I can't see. And there's a greater cause than dealing with drama and allowing arguments in my life. Accept Jesus, live for him, love him, let him take you to brand new places. Now, some of my Mighty Men will know that I don't give up real easy. To get out of the Mighty Men program is kind of hard because I don't give up real easy. And I think I fashion grace the best I can. But I also want people to remember that, I'm human. I hurt. I'm not Jesus. I am not. Don't even pretend to be Jesus. I love to love people. I'm not afraid to hug somebody. And if you are tough, it's who I am. So that brings me to the point of, now there was another life verse that became a life verse in the middle of this, and we'll go over that later because that's a whole story by itself. But it was 1 Peter 5:7, cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. But this one was the one that made the most sense. And for a long time, the reason why I'm doing this is I've shared this with a couple of you. For a long time, this was just part of it, and I kind of followed along with the crowd, as you might say, but it wasn't worth it. It really wasn't. And I've learned to be okay with who I am, and if people want to call me names or make assumptions about me, you know what? That's really on you. I really don't care. If you don't want to know me, oh well. And I hope you don't think that's crass. I know that when God whispers in my ear to stay on somebody, I don't give up. Because I'm his ambassador, and that's my whole and sole purpose on this earth. I've always prayed, God, can I just die in my sleep? Fall asleep over here, wake up over there. But he is changing me every day, like he is changing each and every one of you. So, this was my life verse, and it's my current one still. But I want to qualify it because probably about 30 years ago, I had this pastor ask me what my life verse was, and I told him, and he's like, well, what about the rest of it? So, Jeremiah 29:11. Yes, I followed along with the crowd, and that was it. Jeremiah 29:11. Yeah, I could rattle it off. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to give you a hope and a future, not to harm you. And so that was he's got a plan for me, not to harm me. And then this little pastor, love him to death. Him and my best friend, who was killed when I was a freshman in college, would always challenge me because I'm stubborn, real stubborn. But this pastor said, well, what about the rest of it? And I'm like, what do you mean about the rest of it? That is Jeremiah 29:11. He goes, well, that's great as a promise, but do you know how to get the promise? I'm like, Well, no. He goes, well, read on. I'm like, it's just a statement. Read the rest of it. He said, you might find a really good surprise in there. I'm like, okay, fine. Get you off my back. I'll read it. So I did. So let me get it here. This is 12. Then you will call on me. And come and pray to me. And I will listen to you. You know, you're not a cripple. You're not a nerd. You're not a jock. You're not whatever title. You're not a pretty boy. I was called that too when I had hair. I will come and I will listen to you. You will seek me and you will find me when you seek me with your whole heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord. And then here's the next promise, and it's so good. And I will bring you back from captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and places that I have banished you, declares the Lord. And I will bring you back to the place from which I carried you into exile. He's going to restore you. He will restore you. Where have you been banished? What have you done? What have you not done? You see, only one life will soon be passed. Only what's done for Christ will last, and that is my testimony. Now, that's not all of it. I'm a cripple. I didn't get feeling back in my legs until I was in my mid-30s. Don't know why. Don't know why I got it back. Because literally they drove what looks like roofing spikes through my hips when I was 6 months old without anesthetic because I was too little. And I have big welts on the sides of my, about midway down my thigh now from where those were. One got infected, so it's a little deeper. Everybody has a cool testimony because Jesus worked in your life. Jesus did something brand new in you, and he's not done with me. Am I going to be perfect? No. I get chastised all the time because of our philosophy with this ministry. It's called deeper level mentoring because it was started at a time when people didn't know what mentoring was. And it's deeper level because I'm not going to teach you a trade. It's not what I'm here for. Social balance, how God sees you, how you see God. Emotional balance, how you see yourself as a promise, as a gift. Social balance, how you represent yourself. Mental balance, are you growing mentally every day? Are you trying to keep this ticker going? Physical balance, are you being responsible with your body? And I'm not, there's some really healthy guys out there that are not healthy because they're not responsible with their bodies. Yeah, I'm calling all of us out. Financial balance, are you being responsible with the resources God gives you? Now, I'm going to clear this up again real quick. We teach 10% goes to the body that feeds you. That does not mean begging for money. That's me laying out the facts, whether you give it here or not. Because if you don't believe in your in this ministry, I don't want your money. Yeah, I don't want your resources if you don't believe in what we're doing. It's as simple as that. But that doesn't get you out of giving your 10% where you need to. Okay? Just saying. And then the last one is the hardest thing for us men. See, I have a group of mighty men. And this is the chain of command in my life. See, God is number one. He is first and foremost. And then comes my sweet baby, Monica, who is my best friend and has been for the past 38 years. We've been married 34. I love her to death. And no matter what she's going through, if she hates me, if she loves me, I love her to death. Nobody excites me like Monica. I don't ever want anybody else. She's it. Okay? Then my children and my family. Now, there's situations goes on where I don't really always like certain parts of my family, but I always love them and am devoted. Then comes my mighty men, and there's 30 of them, and they're my inner circle. And sometimes I give them too much information and lean too hard, because I think within that group of men, there's probably a circle that's smaller than the 30, of probably like 5 or 6, maybe 7. But they're tight, and we have a criteria. If you ever want to learn about it, I'll tell you what the criteria is to be a mighty man, or if you ever want to learn to be one. Then there's my guys. In program, we have 60 men, other than the mighty men, in program right now, trying to do it. They're not mighty men, and I don't treat them that way. They're baby Christians. They're baby believers for the most part. Or they might be old school believers who just have been sucking on milk too long, and it's time to kick your butt off and get some meat going, you know? And then there's all the people in my ministry. There's been over, I think we counted like 6 or 7 years ago, there's like 6,000 that have been in my ministry in the past 40 years. This year, in this month, will be 40 years that I've been in ministry. I was called in July. So I've had several really good friends in closing. And one of my best friends, I told you, that was killed, his name was Bruce Bedingfield. Him and Mark Kell and I, when they were at Camp Marengo, when we were pretty tight, even when we went home to Springfield. Mark lived in Ansonia, but we were all in Ohio. But I want to give a shout out to Tim Arthur, because Tim was a good friend when I was a nerd and I was tubby, and we used to go hang out. Tim was a good friend when I was a jock and I was kind of a jerk sometimes. And Tim's still a good friend right now. So, you know, I don't know what you can do with this. I hope you learn to find out your life. I want you to love Jesus. I want you to fall in love with Jesus. That's all I want. And not just be some kind of, you know, I don't know, some Christian. I want you to be a believer, a follower, a disciple. That's my prayer for you. If you want to know about the mentoring program or a DL